We've had over 8,200 visits on our website. On our website, we have an average of 6.5 events per user. We have listeners in over 59 countries. Wow. This is my oldest daughter, Marloh Madison.
Hi.
What has inspired you to want to go into that profession to help people?
Doc McStuffins. I was very Doc McStuffins was my favorite show as a kid. I have a little Doc McStuffins plushie of Cyrus from when I was a kid. And yeah, I always loved Doc McStuffins and how she helped all the stuffed animals feel better.
Okay, now I'm here with my younger daughter, Zoi Madison. And Zoi is the voice you hear every week when we release new episodes. And you hear This is Genetics for Healthcare, podcast for patients.
I was thinking about doing what's it called?
Character work?
Voice actors.
Voice actors, yeah.
Yeah, because I can do a lot of voices, so I'm told.
When you get that diagnosis and they tell you have male breast cancer, how'd that hit you?
It was just unbelievable. I knew there was something there. Like I said, I thought it was just going to go away. But when I went in for the ultrasound and that technician brought in that doctor, that's when it started to feel real. And I'm going, what is going on?
The NFL celebrates a crucial catch, right, about early detection of cancers. And I believe your voice could be one of those voices to have influence inside the NFL Players Association to talk about a crucial catch, meaning prevention.
This is Genetics for Healthcare, a podcast for patients.
This is Genetics for Healthcare, a podcast dedicated to helping patients and their caregivers, their loved one, advocate for a precision medicine approach to their healthcare, which includes using genetic and genomic information that we get through our tests offered by our providers to make treatment decisions, which include disease screening, disease prevention, treatment, and of course, survivorship long term. You can find us at geneticsforhealthcare.com or wherever you get your podcasts. This is, I don't know if you want to call it the end of the year, the beginning of the year, but this is a look back and a way for me to connect with our audience who tunes into our new episodes, who download it, engage with our content on social media. I just want to thank you and just give you an update on the tremendous growth of this podcast, which we set out to do to empower people with the language, learn the language of genetics and genomics so you can have these conversations with your care providers and your family members to help make informed decisions around disease treatment and screening and prevention. My goodness, I just want to share a bunch of numbers with you and then share some goals with you at the end of this that we have for the podcast. And this is an opportunity for me to ask you to help us grow the show and reach more people. So a lot of exciting things. So we've done 35 episodes in the year 2025. We launched our first episode in February. And we didn't have Google Analytics on our website all of last year. We actually started tracking the website analytics in July. And since that time, we've had over 8,200 visits on our website. Of those numbers, there are over 1,500 unique visitors. So thank all of you for continuing to come back and watch episodes. And this is the most, just the number I'm floored by and really thankful for you who are listening to this. On our website, we have an average of 6.5 events per user. And what that means is people are coming to the website and checking out different episodes and what our mission is for the podcast and the people that we want to reach. And we really appreciate that. There could be no greater compliment than someone coming to our website and then staying there for a period of time because it's useful. And we're going to evolve our website to have a couple of different things because we're all about resources, helping to empower people with the resources to advocate for themselves. And so we're going to put a glossary of terms because with each episode, we're talking about different things as it pertains to genetics, testing, genomics, and we want you to have this resource at your fingertips. And obviously, you got ChatGPT, you got AI tools, and Google's still out there to find out what these things mean. But we want to be a one-stop shop for patients, caregivers, people who want to learn how to advocate for themselves and know what these terms mean and be able to use these terms when you're in front of your care providers and with your family members. So we're going to get a glossary that is going to be dynamic and continues to grow as we introduce new terms. And we're also going to have a list of patient advocacy groups and their websites where you can go find out about these groups, get connected to someone with the tools, resources, and information they have to help you become a more confident and effective advocate for your health using precision medicine. So those are some short-term goals that we hope to have. Also, because our show is weekly, and I'll get more into that in a minute. And we have a video platform. We have audio and video podcasts, so whatever you prefer. But because our show is weekly, we have lots of episodes, and so we're building a sort feature on our website where you'll be able to go and sort by topic, whether it is cancer, AI, heart disease. The goal here is for people who are not medical, don't have a medical background, to really search through this complex information using ordinary terms that the average person might know about. So we have a search feature that will help you get to the content on our website that is most useful for you and be able to share it with those who you feel can benefit from it too. So that's our website. We've got over, again, 8,200 visits, 8,200 visits, over 1,500 unique visitors. Our most popular episode, and I think this is the virtue of when we started actually tracking it, is episode 19, Turning Sick Care into Healthcare with Michael Snyder from Stanford University. And in that episode, we talked about how a smartwatch could be your next primary care doctor with its ability to track healthcare information, different insights and healthcare metrics, and combining that with genetics and genomics. Really, really great episode. But interestingly enough, over 12% of those who have come to the website listened to that podcast. But again, I think that's just by virtue of when we started tracking. So either way it goes, I really appreciate it. Here's the most, mind-blowing number for me is we've have listeners in over 59 countries. Wow. I just let that sit in with me. I shared it with my daughters, and you're going to hear from my daughters here shortly, about that, because they're a big part of me starting this podcast and this platform to reach people. I wanted them to understand what my mission was and what drove me, and have them be a part of this journey with growing a show that educates people directly about genetics and genomics and how we can use this information for real healthcare, for prevention, and to treat our diseases more effectively as these genetic and genomic insights grow. So 59 countries. Yeesh. So I can't list all the countries, but I'm going to give you the top 10. I'm going to give you the top 10 because obviously the United States is number one, with 40% of our listenership coming from the United States. The second largest country demographic is China. The third is Singapore. 4 is India. 5 is the Philippines. 6 is the United Kingdom. 7 is Germany. 8 is Brazil. 9 is Canada. And 10 is the Netherlands. Thank you. And I mean, I won't go all the way down the page, but 58 countries. I'm floored that this effort is reaching people around the world, but I'm really humbled that they find it useful enough to come to my website and share this content. So I thank you, ma'am, sir. If you're listening to this right now, no matter where you're listening to it, please look down at your smartphone, your laptop, your smart TV, and hit the subscribe button. What I've learned is many of those who listen to us are not subscribed to us, and that's okay. Over 90% of our YouTube audience who listens and views the podcast episodes are not subscribers, but I'll get to that in a second. I really want you to hear from my daughters who, I show this content. I listen to this in my car as I drive around. I think they're probably immune to it by now, but I was able to share these growth numbers with them in terms of our website engagement, our number of followers. But I want you to meet Marloh Madison and Zoi Madison. These are my daughters. I'll try to get, my dog Cyrus on too, but I want you to hear from them in how much just the joy that I have with sharing this journey with my daughters. One of the things I really love is that I've gotten to do this podcast with the help of my daughters. This is my oldest daughter, Marloh Madison.
Hi.
And it's beautiful. I've been in healthcare for over 2 decades, long since, older than my oldest daughter. But I'm inspired that you have long had a vision for being in healthcare or wanting to be a doctor to help people. Now, what has inspired you to want to go into that profession to help people?
Doc McStuffins. I was very Doc McStuffins was my favorite show as a kid. I have a little Doc McStuffins plushie of Cyrus from when I was a kid. And yeah, I always loved Doc McStuffins and how she helped all the stuffed animals feel better.
One of the greatest gifts, the Wilsons, Ron and Audrey Wilson, when you were little, bought you a skeleton. Remember that? It's like you take them together. Yeah. It's like every little piece. And ever since then, you've just had it in your mind that this is what I'm going to do. Mm-hmm. Powerful gifts. So you're going to hear Marloh as we get sponsorship. She'll do outros to commercials and some disclaimers. But it's just a joy for me to be able to work with my daughters, have them appear on the podcast, and understand what entrepreneurship looks like, understand what a sense of mission looks like to help other people get better health through genetics and genomics. Any last words?
Bye.
Thank you, Marloh. Okay, now I'm here with my younger daughter, Zoi Madison. And Zoi is the voice you hear every week when we release new episodes. And you hear, this is Genetics for Healthcare, podcast for patients. I love that I've been able to work on this project to reach more people with my daughters. And Zoi is a content creator. She's the artist of the family. So, okay, tell us about your content. Shout out your TikTok, your Instagram, and all the good stuff. Tell them what you do as an artist.
Well, I'm a dancer. I go to, should I say my school?
Which school? Oh yeah, absolutely. Shout out to school and your dance studio.
Okay. Well, I go to Booker T. Washington High School for the Visual and Performing Arts, and I'm a dancer there. I've been doing dance since I was really little, but when I was in 4th grade or so, around that time, I started doing competitive dance. And my current studio is Fenton's Dance Factory. Shout out to that. I'm on seniors team and I'm the co-captain this year. Dancing has been a really great experience for me because it lets me move and express my feelings and things. But then other than that, I also just love dancing because it's a way to free myself when I go to conventions and things like that and pop-up classes. And I love dance.
And you're a true artist because you actually create content. She creates content with her dance. Okay, what's your IG?
Well, my Instagram is my name, all lowercase, Zoi, ZOI .Madison, MADSON. Y'all should go follow that. But yeah, that's where I post most of my dance content.
And she's an artist. You do voiceovers.
Yes. Well, I was thinking about doing what's it called?
Character work?
Voice actors.
Voice actors, yeah.
Yeah, because I can do a lot of voices, so I'm told. But
and she's gotten paid for her work on Genetics for Healthcare. So thank you for helping us reach over 59 countries around the world. Isn't it amazing? So continue to follow your dreams. And thank you, Zoi, for helping me follow mine and reach more people to get better health through genetics and genomics.
No problem. Yes.
Okay, I'm trying to get my dog Cyrus in. Come here, Cyrus. Come here, buddy. Hugs. Yeah, good boy. I don't know if you can see Cyrus. Cyrus, look. Say, hey, buddy. Cyrus is a golden doodle. He's about 6 years old. He's a very sweet boy. He has his Merry Christmas bandana on as we're celebrating the Christmas season over here in the United States. Look, buddy, look. You see that? Okay, he's out. There's no treats for him here. But Cyrus is many times here recording with me and certainly in the editing room. So he's used to hearing me talk into the ether. Some other growth numbers that I'm excited to share with you. I'm really excited about the engagement we've had for our website, but more growth numbers. So this year, since we've had our YouTube channel, or let me back up a little bit. So downloads, our audience is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We're also on Amazon Music. We're not on iHeartRadio yet, but we're getting there. But Spotify and Apple Podcasts are our biggest podcast streaming platforms, and to date we've had just about 4,893 downloads on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We want to grow the show, so if you're listening to this and whatever your favorite platform is, please subscribe. Please subscribe across all platforms, and we're learning podcast SEO to make sure that it's discoverable when you Google cancer prevention or precision medicine or genetics. Those are our big, handles or our big hashtags for people to follow the show. YouTube is our fastest growing platform. And because it is a video show, this feeds into what my goals and dreams and aspirations are for the show. But to date, we have over 43,000 views on YouTube. We have over 100 subscribers, and 90% of those who look at or watch the podcast episodes on YouTube are not subscribers. So, ma'am, sir, please subscribe on YouTube. It is a powerful platform. We want to release content every week in video format, and this also feeds into our goals, which I'll get to in a second. On LinkedIn is the social media platform where I'm most active. So if you want to engage with me, you can go to my website, romeaddison.com, which you can get through the podcast website. But on LinkedIn, I'm at Rome Addison in just about everywhere. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'd love to hear how this podcast has helped you at all, or your thoughts on the podcast. Please don't be mean, but I understand this is, can't please everybody. So that's kind of what you're asking for. But connect with me on LinkedIn. Also, our LinkedIn platform for the podcast, Genetics for Healthcare. You can go to all of those sites, all these platforms on our website, by the way, geneticsforhealthcare.com. But we have over 400 followers on our LinkedIn podcast page. And the cool thing is, when you subscribe or follow us on LinkedIn, you can also subscribe to our newsletter. Our newsletter we send out every month, and it's a look back of the episodes of the last 4 to 5 weeks of the content that we have put out, the guests that we've had, and it's to summarize what's been going on with links to every episode. So it's a good way if you don't catch it every Thursday when podcasts are released, and I announce them usually at the beginning of the following week on Mondays and start posting, reels and shorts. The newsletter is an excellent way to keep up with what's going on, what we've done, and the amazing episodes and guests that we've had. So please, that is probably the most engaged platform next to YouTube is our LinkedIn channel. We also have international reach. As I said, our second and our third country demographics that visit our website. I'm just talking to visit the website. I don't necessarily have these numbers for social media, but we have an international audience with 59 different countries who have heard a podcast episode. And we have now a partnership with our cancerstories.com, which I'm so excited about. Our cancerstories.com offers resources, articles for people who are battling to conquer their cancer. and they share updates. They share other people, maybe famous people who've been interviewed about this. They share diet, exercise. It's a comprehensive website where you can go find by cancer type helpful things to help you manage your battle against your disease and survivorship. And they're adding Genetics for Healthcare video podcast to their platform to help deliver more information, helpful information for the people who go to their website and consume their content. So please go to ourcancerstories.com. I think you can opt in as a subscriber, but go there and go to the pages. Just go Genetics for Healthcare. I believe they're going to have the video streamer on the homepage where you'll be able to see it and engage with them. But thank you. You'll be able to get there also through my website, through a portal of their logo on my website. So I'm really, really grateful for that partnership as well. Let me tell you our goals. So at the end of this year, I had no idea that this kind of reach would be available. I just hoped that we could touch people because I know that one of the last things that hinder patient access to genetic and genomic testing and the therapies that it can unlock access to, whether they are drug therapies or clinical trials, was patient education. Really touching the patient and delivering this information in a way that could be helpful for them, that they can gain the confidence and the vocabulary to advocate for themselves. So there's two goals that I have going into 2026. The first of which is we have a goal to syndicate or license these episodes into cancer center waiting rooms or hospital cancer wards. I remember interviewing Eric Williams on episode 23, and he mentioned when he was being treated for his prostate cancer, he would go in and it was very solemn in the waiting room, and everyone's had their heads down. And he vowed to be a light in that dark situation. So he made sure he spoke to everybody, connected with them on a very human level because they were going through similar things, being treated to conquer their cancer. And he created Team E. And I thought, man, this would be powerful to get this content into cancer center waiting rooms to engage people, because the stories that we have on this podcast are super empowering. That first person testimony, that patient first lens on genetics and genomics as it pertains to the implications for cancer care or sickle cell or heart disease can be really, really helpful. And we want to extend how this information can be repurposed to reaching more people. So I don't know how to do that, but if you're hearing this and you have an idea how to do that, I'm all ears. You can DM me on LinkedIn, or you can send me a message through our website, Genetics for Healthcare. The other thing is every October, the NFL has a crucial catch campaign where they're wearing pink gloves and pink cleats. And it started out with like breast cancer awareness, but it has evolved into going to your doctor to get screened for cancer, to making sure if you are diagnosed with cancer, that you catch it early. You can catch it early where it's more treatable, and cure in many cases is possible. So we want the NFL to acknowledge genetic and genomic testing in their crucial catch campaign for October, adding genetic testing, hereditary cancer testing, whole genome sequencing, whatever it is, to find high risk variants while you're healthy that can inform how you can screen, go to your doctor and be checked up to find these genetic diseases early and intervene to where you don't have an advanced diagnosis and you can be cured or avoid a diagnosis altogether. So that's our goal. And on our show, we've interviewed Kim Alexander, which was the wife of NFL linebacker Elijah Alexander, who died of multiple myeloma. She's a tireless advocate for educating the public, especially the African American community, around awareness of this disease so you can catch it early. We've had Art Steele on episode 31, former Kansas City Chiefs great. He was diagnosed with hereditary ATTR, which is a mutation that causes heart disease, cardiomyopathy, heart failure early on in life. And he tells the story that he probably wouldn't have caught this. He knew his family history of heart failure, but he probably wouldn't have caught it if he was not in the NFL veterans, the alumni workup that they go to every year, every 5 years at Tulane Medical Center, where they send their athletes down there for a full workup to improve their health long term. So he's passionate about driving awareness about hereditary ATTR and making sure that people know about genetic testing so they can inform their family members, because early detection will make a world of difference in your long term quality of life and survival. Now, looking forward, a big way to do that is obviously to get more people who are associated with the NFL on the podcast. And I'm putting out an APB for Dak Prescott. Yes, I'm a lifelong Cowboy fan. Yes, I live in Dallas, Texas. Yes, I've gone to his website, Dak Prescott, what is it? Faithfightfinish.org. And I'm dropping a line to invite him to be a guest on the podcast because he has a very intimate relationship with cancer and raising awareness for colon cancer research. His mother, Peggy, succumbed to the complications with colorectal cancer, and he created his foundation for that. And also, his brother, Jace, died by suicide, and he, through his foundation, also raises awareness for suicide prevention. So I believe Dak obviously could be a big conduit to get this word out for more people to understand genetics and genomics around testing around colorectal cancer and with mental health as well. And that's our goal. And then thanks to Kathy Baker, to the indomitable force, Kathy Baker, who was my guest on episode 5. I believe her episode was a crucial catch. But she gives a gala, a celebration for previvors and cancer survivors in Tyler, Texas. And she gave me the opportunity to be keynote speaker and a host for the night, an MC for the night. And she had former NFL defensive lineman Tony Savage, who played a number of years in the NFL, big, strong defensive lineman. And he is a breast cancer survivor and a BRCA2 variant carrier. And I had the opportunity to interview him on stage, and I'm going to leave you with this conversation and those two goals for what Genetics for Healthcare is trying to do to raise the conversation, to raise public awareness so everyone out there can have the language and the confidence to get into genetic and genomic testing, understanding what you need, have these conversations with your family and your caregivers when they matter most. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for continuing to support the podcast and enjoy this conversation with former NFL lineman Tony Savage.
At this time, I want to invite our featured patient speaker, Tony Savage, up. And Tony and I were talking before we got started with dinner. And, you know, I'm an ex-football player. I played at University of Missouri. He played at Washington State. And of all the things when you get football guys together, we immediately start talking about guys that we know, places we played, games and things like that. And you've done some amazing stuff, my man. But of all the amazing things that you've done, you ever think you'd be in Tyler, Texas, being a featured speaker about breast cancer?
Not at all, not at all. And first I want to thank Kathy and her husband Keith for inviting me to this event. When she first made contact with me, I wasn't sure I was going to do this. I tend to be a private person, and when I was diagnosed with cancer, I had a small circle of friends that knew about it. I didn't want to hear about somebody telling me to eat kale, have a bowl of Fruity Pebbles. I didn't want to hear any of that, so I kept my circle real small. And I just want to thank her for inviting me to this. In the last 2 days, I've learned so much more about the genetic testing with my great knowledgeable women that have spoken here today. Some of the stories that they were sharing with me at lunch today was just unbelievable. And it was due to individuals, friends, families not knowing what to do with genetic testing, not knowing to share that information with other family members. So I'm so glad to be here today.
So, we're dealing in adversity, right? So what did the game of football teach you about how to deal with like adversity and just things like this?
Organized sports, be it basketball, football, baseball, especially when you're in a team format. Starting in college, it was just all about discipline. It was all about being on time. There were consequences if you were not on time. There were drills and up downs and things and running stairs if you weren't on time. So as a freshman, you come into that and it just becomes a part of your personality. Your discipline that is formed in the game, the focus that you get from the game, the friendships that you make, the true friendships that you make from the organized sports and football in general, is indispensable. It's something it's very difficult to find outside of that type of arena, outside of that space and I still live that way today. My wife will tell you that I challenge myself for stupid things that I want to see if I can do just because I want to see if I can do it. But that's something that stays with me for forever since I got done playing.
One thing I've talked to many patients who've battled and conquered cancer, I thought it was cultural because, my mama told me you don't talk about our business outside this house, right? But as a result, we didn't know our family health history, right? Did you know your family health history? Were you aware of it?
No. When I got diagnosed, I found out that my mom's sister was diagnosed. And I didn't know to what extent her diagnosis was, but then I found out later that she did have breast cancer and went through some treatment. I still don't know how much treatment she had, but no, it was never talked about, and I didn't know anything about the genetic component of it. I was telling my wife is here with me, she joined me. I was telling her that had I known about that gene earlier on, I could have been preventable. I had no clue about that gene, and during my process, that's when I found out about the BRCA gene.
So a lot of times, with athletes deal with pain. You deal with pain because pain means like if you're hurt, that means you can't play. That means you're gonna miss a job. So sometimes the mentality can be, well, what is this? I don't know, and just kind of avoid it. What was the path leading up to your diagnosis, having symptoms, and actually going to the doctor and being diagnosed?
So I knew I had something in my left pec or breast, whatever you want to call it. I got breast tissue too. So I knew something was there. I ignored it. I thought it was going to go away. Yeah, this was 2011. I got in an accident. My dad had passed a few years ago, and I went up to San Francisco, my hometown, and brought his truck back down to San Diego. So I was getting on the freeway. There was an accident on the side of the road, and I stopped because I saw the accident, but the car behind me didn't stop. So he rear-ended me in the truck, airbags deployed, cops were out on the scene, ambulance came, wanted to take me into the hospital. I said, no, I'm good. I ended up getting home, and I just wanted to go see my physician just to make sure everything was all right, and not because of the bump in my breast, but because of the accident. So my doctor I'd been with for a very, very long time, he goes, Tony, I don't like the way that feels. Sent me to get a mammogram, ultrasound, and I was by myself. My wife was at work. The technician didn't like what she saw. She called in the doctor. Doctor came in, and she didn't like it either. So this is 2011. I'm by myself, and my wife and I are engaged. And my two boys are small, and so I call her. She comes and picks me up with her sister, and the journey begins. I go in for the biopsy, and the surgeon just pretty much diagnosed it at that time, infiltrating ductal carcinoma, stage 2. So the journey began with chemo, and that was six or seven treatments, and then after that, radiation. And I'm here today because of it.
What was your mindset when you went in and you got that diagnosis? Again, you're a private person. You still look like you still play. You get down a three-point stance.
That's it.
But like when you get that diagnosis and they tell you you have male breast cancer, like how'd that hit you?
It was just unbelievable. I knew there was something there. Like I said, I thought it was just going to go away. But when I went in for the ultrasound and that technician brought in that doctor, that's when it started to feel real. And I'm going, what is going on? I mean, it didn't run in my family. Like I said, it was just my aunt. And even if it had ran in my family, I still would have probably done the same thing. I still would have said, oh, this is nothing. It's going to go away. But it was just shocking. And being there by myself, and my fiance is coming to pick me up and going, what is going on? Where's this going to go? So it was definitely something that threw me off for a while. It was something I had to accept, and after got over the shock of it, like we were talking about, the focus came into play, and I just charged forward.
So at what point in the journey did someone talk to you about genetic testing, and what was your understanding of what that would do?
That's what I was trying to figure out with my wife today. When did they decide to test me for the gene? And it was somewhere between probably the surgery and chemo. And they said, we're just going to test you for the BRCA gene. And I go, yeah. At that time, you could test me for whatever. I was dealing with everything else. And then that's what they told me, that, yeah, you tested positive for it. But even when I got the testing back, I still didn't really know what that meant. My kids were young at that time, so they told me when your boys get older, which they are now, they're 26 and 28, and they're hard-headed, and they don't want to listen to me, so they haven't done it yet, but I'm going to stay on them to do it. But they told me when they get of age, have them get tested. So this event this week is the first time I'm really digging into what that means, having that gene. And my sister, she's a scientist too in the Bay Area, she did get tested, and she tested negative, so she doesn't have it. But I'm still working on my boys to get them in.
Well, the people closest to us, maybe not, but even in your circles, your boys, like when we get on the phone, right, you say you're a private guy, like how has that conversation been with ex-ball players, man, and how have they responded? I'm trying to think. My former teammates, maybe a few of them do know about it. I didn't really share it with many. My really good college teammates, they all know. So I talked to them. We still, stay in touch. My D-line, we have a chain link, text link that we talk. But my pro teammates, we still get together a couple times a month in San Diego, and it's not just Charger players, it's players from all over the league. And it's just about other topics, about our benefits as players and stuff like that. So when I'm in that scene, that situation, I don't talk about it. And it's just like ball. When I'm out and about, I don't even talk about football. So when I'm with someone that has had breast cancer, then we can talk. Because they understand the journey. They understand what it means to go through these things. Like I said, people, we were talking about it, friends, they don't really know. They can feel a little empathy for you or sympathy for you, but they can't really understand it. So I just limit my discussion on that. But this brought back memories. Breast Cancer Awareness Month, it brings back memories about my journey. And when a player, I'm not ashamed to say I had it. When it does come up, I'll tell them, yeah. And some of them are shocked, but it's something I did share with certain folks. First of all, I just want to honor you, man, for as you mentioned, you're a private guy, for sharing your story and being willing to do that. I know there's an NFL Players Association in your area, and this is October, right? This is breast cancer awareness, but the NFL celebrates a crucial catch, right? About early detection of cancers. And I believe your voice could be one of those voices to have influence inside the NFL Players Association to talk about a crucial catch, meaning prevention, instead of just early detection with knowing your genetic signatures or your germline variants that might increase risk of hereditary cancers. So, as you're using your voice, I'm a big believer that through the good and the bad, what happens to us has to happen to us so we can be purposed to influence or impact somebody else with our experience, to make their life a little better, to be a light in this world. And you're doing that. What do you want anyone here, or as your story gets, broadcast wider and people start to know about this, what would the one takeaway that you would want someone to know from your story?
Just what the message has been today about sharing with all your family members about getting tested for that gene, particularly if it runs in your family. If it's running in your family, right now it seems like it's not that difficult to get the test done. I actually don't know how they did it when I was going through it. I'm sure they probably took my blood or something, but now I hear you can just spit in a little tube and they can test for it. So I think particularly for men who don't want to share what they consider could be a weakness, which it ain't, go in and just get tested. Ask your family members, who has it? Did your sister have it? Did your aunt have it? And that could save you a lot of grief and sadness and disappointment, because then you can prevent it. You can go in on an annual basis and get checked up, and you won't have to go through it. So I think that will be my message for everyone. And the small percentage of men that do get it, it still matters. I mean, it's still no joke. I ran into a few of them after I got it, some in San Diego, that I would not have known because I got it. So whether it's 0.5% of men that get it, it still will affect you and affect your family and affect your loved ones. So I would just say, take the steps. Don't wait. Just go back and get the test.
Now, who gonna not do that after he said it, right? Go get tested. Powerful, powerful story, powerful voice. Continue to be a light, man, especially with those brothers that we know that we limping around and won't go to the doctor just for our limp, right? To go get checked. Thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you.
This is Genetics for Healthcare, a podcast for patients.